Hey guys, so today I would like to talk to you guys about one of my favorite books from Gurudev, Who Am I? He wrote this book around 1940 when he was about 29 years old. This was actually one of his first published work. In this book, Gurudev tries to tackle some of the existential questions like who are we? What is the purpose of human life? What is the genesis of ignorance and suffering? What is Atma? And what is body? So, Who Am I is one of my favorite books written by Gurudev because it's one of the most intriguing and well written books. And it's crazy. Like, this was like literally his first published work. But while reading through the book, whenever I had a question, Gurudev immediately started the very next section with the answer to the question I had, almost like he could read our minds as a reader. But this makes the book very fun to read, and it's very easy to comprehend as well. But one of the major topics discussed in this book is the importance of self-realization. One of the crucial differences you need to understand, like, is the difference between how self-realization is perceived in the Western culture versus the Hindu philosophy. In Western philosophy, self-realization is the ability for a person to reach his or her full potential. It can be seen as achieving everything you're capable of. It has nothing to do with understanding or comprehending the inner workings of the soul. And this is what the Hindu philosophy focuses on: is self-realization means having a clear and irrefutable experience of the real nature's oneself identity, the immortal soul, and of the transient body, the one that houses the soul. So self-realization is liberating knowledge of the true self, either as permanent undying Atma or as absence of a permanent self. So before we get into the steps of self-realization, we have to understand one important concept, and that is the real you is not the body. So this is one of the most fundamental and crucial steps. Throughout life, we usually remain confused about the nature of our own self, true self. Our perception of reality is in constant state of change. We define ourselves by the environmental factors that affect us, like who you're friends with, um, who's your enemy, who's your friend. Like usually we define ourselves as, like, the environmental factors around us, instead of defining ourselves as I, the immortal soul. So the truth dawns when we realize that I is the unchanging self. It is not related to the material world, that I is none other than local manifestation of the supreme being, the soul. It is critical in order to attain self-realization that we do not associate I with our body and start referring it to our soul. The body has not, a body is nothing but a temple house for the soul. So, one of the most interesting sections in this book that I found was interests of souls and body are different. And in this section, Gurudev explains, since the soul and the body are two separate entities, their interests are also different. The requirements of the body are represented by the interests of sensory organs. Ultimately, we spend our lives chasing after material satisfaction of body and mind while ignoring the needs of the soul. If a human being spends his or her whole life craving for food, sleep, fear, sex, etc., their existence would be considered animal like, existing, devoid of any higher purpose. When we desire cravings, we try to satisfy them by any means, fair or foul. This is the primary cause for all sinful deeds. The real success and prosperity in life lies in remaining ever conscious to one's true identity. When one identifies his or herself with Atma, soul, his or her aspiration and inclination naturally begin to follow the path of self-discipline, which provides true happiness to the soul. It brings true peace and purpose to life. This is why so many gurus give the topmost priority to sadhana of self-realization. The sadhana, that Gurudev talks about in this book are meant to inspire a sincere you on a path of self-realization. So this means available for us to approach Atma through four facilities of mind, and they are man, which is the interacting with sensory organs; buddhi, which is the realm of thoughts, contemplation, and intellect; chitta is the warehouse of inherent traits and habits formed as a consequence of repeated actions; and ahamkar is the ego, the perception of one's true identity. So, in order to attain access to Atma, it's through the mind, it's through these four categories. These four traits can be trained as tools of experiencing the reality of the soul. The soul is subtly persuasive all over the body. It has not been assigned of any fixed location by nature where one has access to it through some means or methodology. As the facilities of mind can change the stages of growth of the soul, the exploration of secrets of the inner world of mind is an essential step of spiritual research. So, one of the things that Gurudev talks about very early in this book is meditation and the importance of meditation when it comes to attaining self-realization. So, some of the steps in preparation for meditation is like just find a quiet place which is devoid of like distractions, like just like background noises, like turn your phone off, make sure like you're in a good comfortable spot where you're also sitting properly, because you'll be doing this for at least 30 to 45 minutes. So for the long time, you want to make sure your body's not uncomfortable, you're not moving around a lot, because every time you do that, it sends signals to your brain and it makes you feel uncomfortable, and it kind of breaks like the concentration that you have. So he talks a lot about that. There's a whole section dedicated to it. It's definitely worth the read. I'm gonna quote him, and this is what he says: "Let the body be totally loosened so that all the muscles become relaxed. Let each part of the body feel tension free, peaceful, and at a complete rest. Let the body feel restful and mindful at peace." So, once you are in a comfortable position, what do you do? So, in the section, "Soul is the nucleus of your world," he goes into detailing. Now that you understand the basics of meditation, this is like the next step. So, what we do once we are in a comfortable posture, in the state of meditation, you have to collect all your thoughts on nature, I, which is your soul. Think about nothing about daily activities or other distracting thoughts. Conceptualize that your soul, the real self, is the independent entity, that it is central star around which your personal world is continually revolves around, like planets of the solar system orbiting the sun. Assure yourself that these things around you are independent on you, are dependent on you, but you're not dependent on them. And that's just talking about the material needs of the world, like jobs and everything else. Like, everything revolves around you and your soul, but you're not dependent on them. And understanding this is one of the uh, hardest challenges I've had, because I started meditating about a month ago for 30 minutes every day, and it's easier said than done, but like, just having to keep your focus the whole time through, and like not being able to think about any of the other worldly distractions and just focusing on yourself. Like, I had to completely turn off my phone. I used to meditate in my bedroom, then I had to move to living room and figure out a place where I could see the sunrise, and that really helped me a little bit with being able to concentrate for a longer period of time, and just being able to, like, I just visualize the planets, like you being in the center of them, and all the problems you have being around you just revolving around you. And that's a technique that really helped me, like being able to focus for a longer time. And another aspect that, like, here pointed out earlier, like working out and meditation, like, and when you're working out, you see the uh like effects like on your body. It's something you can visually see, but when you're doing meditation, it's very hard to like document that. So I started writing paragraph or so, like about just what I felt, like what I was being distracted by during the meditation and what was causing those distractions. So those two questions like really helped me kind of document like every single day. And you can go back through these, like, when you first started, to see if you're actually making progress or not. But it's like, trying every single day, trying to add a new thing, and like try to tackle a new problem. And it, like, you will start seeing instant benefits with meditation. It's just like working out. Like once you start working out and you do it for like a month or two, then when you don't work out, you don't feel the same way. Like you literally just feel crappy about yourself. It's the same way with meditation. Like I haven't stopped doing it, so I don't really know what all the effects for that would be. But for a month, like just for 30 minutes a day, it like gives you a big boost. Like especially if you wake up at 6 o'clock, when the environment, everything around you is a lot quieter, it definitely makes a big difference in like rest of your day, how much more calm you are, and like anxiety too. It really helps with that. But then I'm gonna get into the rewards for discovering your soul. That's another section that he has in there. This is all part of chapter one, I believe. Or no, actually chapter two. But there are a couple of things in here I want to point out. The person who consciously discovers his inner self as the nuclear of energies controlling the varied activities of this world becomes a detached observer. It witnesses the ever changing world around them. Once you can become consciously aware of the immense potential of your soul by virtue of its eternal relationship to the Supreme Being, you will instantly start manifesting the attributes of the divine parentage. And this is kind of where I want to end my session. Um, do you guys have any questions?